What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with another hardcore reaction, and this one is in a more modern style, though it is now over 15 years old, but that is further to say it is not 90s gabber, nor is it in the early hardcore style, which is like more modern hardcore tracks, but made in the style of vintage 90s gabber. But yes, this is a tune originally by Hellsystem, though we're going to listen to the Angerfist remix, and in fact, I've never heard the Hellsystem original. Hellsystem, he's an Italian hardcore producer, and Angerfist is a Dutch hardcore producer of some, international reputation. And as I said, he makes tunes that are in a more modern style, though he was making tunes as early as like the very early 2000s, and maybe even before that, but the first, I think, vinyl releases are like '01 back then. Nevertheless, the point is, it is in the more modern style, and it's one of the few Angerfist tracks that I'm very fond of that's on vinyl, meaning I like a lot of his tunes, but most of them are digital only, and a lot of them are on CDs. I think in some cases they're only available like for download. But yes, this is one I happen to have on vinyl, and as I mentioned, it's a remix of a Hellsystem track called Shut Up and Die, which sounds very unsympathetic, and indeed, the attitude of the tune is very aggressive and dismissive. So, yes, ultimately this is one I heard Angerfist play when I saw him on New Year's Eve. I think it was 2015. It was at a party called Fresh NYE, like Fresh New Year's Eve, and it was in Long Beach, California. So yeah, crazy to think that was like a decade ago, or more than a decade ago. It's like, where does time go? Because even that felt like, after I had stopped going to parties for a while, and then mid-2010s, I started going to parties again and played a few during that time. Nevertheless, the point is, this is a track I have heard live, and it is quite a banger, and the audience definitely, responded to it. Let's give it a listen. This is a track originally by Hellsystem, though we're hearing the Angerfist remix, and it's called Shut Up and Die, and I believe it's on, Hardcore Blasters, which I think is an Italian label. So, yeah, in fact, I think they're based out of Rome. So, here we go. This is Hellsystem, Shut Up and Die from his Another World EP, but it is the Angerfist remix. I forget if it's 45 or 33. Shatter. It's a tune. It's in the style that I think Angerfist perfected. Meaning, again, my real favorite style of hardcore is that classic 90s, and maybe even more so early hardcore from more recent years, which is like done in the classic 90s gabber style, artcore style, but with production qualities that are perhaps enhanced from the golden days. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. But I do very much like other flavors of hardcore, and when it comes to like post 2000 more new style hardcore, I think Angerfist is probably my favorite producer because he knows his style. Now, admittedly, his style has evolved, and tracks that I've heard from him in more recent years, maybe I haven't liked them quite as much as like what I would consider kind of his like absolute, a period where he could do no wrong, basically, which is like the early to mid 2010s. It was just like track after track after track was just ace. Number one, he's really good at sampling, and I don't know what these like horror movie samples about someone being devil possessed and so on, I don't know what that comes from. And in fact, maybe that's Hellsystem. Maybe that was in the original. Maybe the only thing that was in the original is the shut up and die, die, die. But nevertheless, Angerfist is very good at sampling. He samples a lot of shows and movies where like I know what that's from. Secondarily, he's very good at like the eccentricity of productions. He'll like, turn the bass line inside out. He'll like do double and triple kick drum rolls, and everything is like a bit eccentric and yet still perfectly within the overall like structure or rhythm of the track. So yeah, I like the eccentricities of his production. So again, this is from an era when he just was absolutely killing it. I do think it's a really good track. I do like the other two tracks on the vinyl, which are like Hellsystem originals, but I do also think that this one is the superior track on the release. So in any case, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.